Welcome to Gathering at the Table's Reflection for January. This gathering, we're talking about how God promises Abraham that his descendants will be a blessing to the entire world. Well, what does being a blessing mean? Well, to get into that, let's look at what Jesus says in Matthew chapter 5. Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth. If salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot." Jesus continues, "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. People do not light a lamp in order to be put underneath a bushel basket. Rather, they put it on the lampstand, and it gives light to all that are in the home." And it's easy to hear about Jesus talking about salt, thinking that it's like a seasoning. But, hey, this fish is bland, needs some hot sauce and some salt. No, like in the ancient world, salt was a preservative. It wasn't just to make something taste better, it was the only thing that they had for refrigeration. So in telling Abraham his descendants would be a blessing to the world, God is quite literally telling Abraham that they are going to help preserve the world. They're going to be a force of good in the world. This is interesting because even though the expectation of hospitality-wise were lifted higher in the ancient world than they were today, Abraham still goes above and beyond. He ends up going in the middle of the day and it's hot, and he still greets the three strangers that are there. Not only does he greet them, he bows, he humbles himself before them, even though he doesn't know who they are, and offers to make them a meal. So what Abraham done is inconvenient for him. It involves his money, it involves, his food, because, food costs money even more back then than it does today, even with inflation. And it still involves his time, because at this point he's very old. But he still works really hard to provide for these guests that have come into his presence. And involves him making a choice. But there was once a guy who was going to be gone from home for a while. He had been working hard and he wanted to rest before this big trip. Yet right when he was about to rest for a bit, he saw a dog in the neighbor's yard. And this dog was struggling. It only had one leg, and it was dragging itself around on its one good leg to get around. So it wasn't really all that friendly, and it was pooping and peeing everywhere in front of the neighbor's house. So the guy was faced with a choice. He really wanted to rest. After all, he was going to have a very long weekend. But at the same time, this dog quite literally needed some help because the house was next to a very busy road. And if the dog was going to try to drag itself across the road, there's no way it would make it before a car hit it. So, did he do what he wanted to do and rest? Or did he help? I'm not going to finish the story because I want to leave that up to you. What do you think the guy did? But moreover, what do you think he should have done? An interesting question comes when we put ourselves in that situation. We ask, well, what would we do? What would your choice be? If I tell someone that I'm salty, people are going to think something very different than I'm trying to be a force of good in the world. But hey, now you know. So, stay salty, my friends. I'll see you next time.